Hi, Kerry Phipps here, talking about connecting with confidence with a number of amazing, incredible people. And I'm just wanting to do this podcast to introduce you to a world of people, to encourage and inspire. And I want to do one of those podcasts that is just a conversation that's not all edited and perfected. I think now is a time for just showing up, being ourselves, and giving our best. And I am super excited to be beginning this journey with the very incredible, inspiring, wonderful Julie Woods from New Zealand. Julie Woods is known as That Blind Woman, or thatblindwoman.nz. Is that correct, Julie?
Kia ora, Kerry. Yes,
Kia ora.
that's thatblindwoman.co.nz.
.co.nz. Thank you. Julie, I mentioned you to so many people in my travels, and you know, it was hilarious one day when I got talking about you on a train in Sydney, and a lady popped her head in from the downstairs carriage and said, "Julie Woods is my cousin." So
oh my goodness.
You're not only famous in New Zealand, but Australia too. But I know that in your travels, you have connected with people all over the world. You've done some incredible things. Since we first connected, was it 2007, 2008?
Yes.
Yes. And
Yep.
then tell us a little of your journey.
Well, I guess it's interesting when you say that, you know, where does your story begin? And I guess mine really begins on the 27th of March, 1997, when I was sitting in the waiting room here at Dunedin Public Hospital and about to be declared legally blind. So that was the day my life changed, Kerry, and I was married at that time with two boys, aged 3 and 1, and I just, you know, as you can imagine, felt very overwhelmed and powerless and had no idea of how I was going to cope. So I lost most of my sight through inflammation of the retina, and all I could see was moving shapes and high contrasting shadows. And I had to set about to do things in different ways, and that set me on this pathway that we're going to talk about in terms of adapting to extraordinary change, because I felt I was an ordinary person who found myself in extraordinary circumstances, and what was I going to do to get out of those extraordinary circumstances and live my life as a mother, a sister, a daughter, and a friend.
Yeah, and I know from reading How to Make a Silver Lining back in the draft form, and laughing as I was reading on the train this this draft. We will get to one of those stories, but your ability to adapt and the decisions you've made have been really quite profound, and it's so important now when so many of us are facing extraordinary change.
Yes.
And really needing to build those adaptive muscles. So
yeah, it is a muscle, you're right.
Yeah.
Stretching it.
So through that book that you've created, and you know, so that's been out for over 10 years, and I've shared it with so many people. You have a new book coming out very, very soon, as in the next couple of days, I believe.
Yes.
But do you want to walk us through your key steps? And we'll do this over maybe 6 or 8 short podcasts, I think, so we can make this digestible. So number 1, Julie, where do we start?
Well, we start really, you know, if I can take you back to that hospital waiting room, sitting there next to my mother, you know, imagining how I was going to cope. The how I was going to cope was really about key number 1, which was asking for help. So I knew that I needed help. I didn't know what it looked like, but I knew to be the person I wanted to be, I was going to have to ask for help.
Yeah.
And here in New Zealand, the place to ask for help then was called the Foundation for the Blind. And of course, that blind word was a big barrier for me to get over, and to accept that I was blind and that I needed help. They were big things before I could even really get off the couch and start doing things in different ways. So I had to knock on the door of an organisation with the word blind in it, and that was a huge step, and it was the best step that I took, because once I went through that door, I was surrounded by people who wanted to support me in being the best person that I could be, the best blind person, and also other blind people. And we'll talk about that in key number 2. But first, asking for help meant that I was able to learn the skills that I needed and get the training that I needed to be able to do things like pour a cup of tea and butter a piece of bread and put jam on it. So it was very simple to start with.
Yeah.
It really started in the kitchen because, as you can imagine, the boys were 3 and 1. They needed to eat, I needed to cook. So life was that simple then, just getting back in and getting my power back and doing things in different ways.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hearing there's that acceptance too, like the accepting that you're in this position of needing to ask for help.
Yes.
And we're not good at asking for help, are we?
No, we think that Reggie White, the American football great, said, "You're never too big to ask for help."
Yeah,
And I think I like that because it's simple and yeah, we think we should be growing up and that we should no longer need to ask for help. We should be independent and be able to do things on our own. So it's really, I guess it's about pride and ego and parking those and saying, actually, I do need help. The
yeah,
acceptance is a big part.
it is. And then I wonder, what does it feel like when you ask someone for help and maybe they're not in the position to help, or, some of the things that people worry about is, getting a no, whatever the question is. We
Yes.
often don't ask questions because we are afraid of what the answer might be. So did you have those instances where you didn't get the help that you wanted initially?
Well, yes, and that's called government agencies.
Okay.
So, so I asked for help at a government agency and they did a rigorous needs assessment and then came back and said, no, sorry, but your husband earns too much. So yes, that does happen, and that there's a real danger that you really do just want to go underneath your parapet and not stick your head out again. So
Yeah.
it's really important to choose carefully who you ask for help.
Yes.
And often that will be, it might surprise you. It'll come from a total stranger,
Yeah.
or it'll come from a neighbour or someone else down the road. So it's important to practice asking for help and just to realise that if it is a no, it's not no because of you, it's no because of them,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and not to take it personally. But think about who you're asking. And I think that's when your instincts come in, Kerry. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of have a good idea. I know that if I got stuck, I know that I could ask you for help. I
Yeah.
think we have instincts around the people that we choose and who we ask. So that's really important.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes it's about having a backup question too, isn't it? If people say, "Oh, I don't know, I wouldn't know," we can ask, "Do you know who might?" Or,
Mm.
maybe
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
another question that.
Yeah, that's right. One really good thing to do is you can write a list of people who you could ask for help. And that's quite a good exercise because often they don't come to you straight away. But when you sit down with a pen and paper or in front of your Word doc, um, different people and names can pop into your head that you might not otherwise think of. So that can be a great exercise.
Absolutely. And Julie, you mentioned that, even sometimes it was total strangers. So can you think of a time? Do you have a story that you'd like to share where you asked a total stranger for help?
So let's think about, I'm struggling, Kerry, only because there's probably so many of them. I just writing a diary the other day.
Yeah.
I was in a toilet in, let me guess, I think it was Italy somewhere, and people will come up to you, and this young lady came up and she just took my hand.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and she guided me because Ron's always reluctant to go into the women's toilets
Yeah.
when we travel. This
Yeah.
lady just came up and took my hand gently and then took me to the toilet, waited for me, waited
Oh,
outside till I came out, then guided me to the basin, washed my hands, and then guided me out to the door again.
oh, that's beautiful.
I mean, that was just like, I didn't even ask.
Yeah, that's precious. Just those little moments. And, she's probably forgotten about that by now, but you remember.
Yeah, that's right. And I think when you open yourself and you're vulnerable, people actually really do move towards you, and that's a real example of that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Have you found that it has become easier to ask for help?
Yes. I say now that it's important to identify my need, and then I'll ask for help. And I'll often say to people, I'm fine, I will ask for help if I need it. And
Yes.
that puts them at ease, so they don't have to think they need to be jumping in all the time. And my husband, I say that too. I will ask for help if I need it. And if he knows that, then he can relax, and life's a whole lot easier. So it's good for the other people to know that too, if you verbalise it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm hearing awareness and acceptance is part of
Yes.
asking for help, and
Yes. Yeah.
and being adaptive, asking different questions, and and raising awareness for other people too of what's needed or what's not needed, because you are very independent and you can do so many things.
Well,
on
that's
your own too.
That's right, and that's what I wrote in the book. Asking for help is not an act of dependence; it's the key to independence.
That's beautiful, Julie. I think we'll pause right here and move to podcast number 2 about finding peer support. Is there anything that you want to, anything else you want to say to wrap up on asking for help?
Just that it's a great thing to do.
Absolutely.
Do it. Do it, everybody. Do it.
Thank you so much, Julie. And I can't wait for the next podcast with a story that just had me in stitches. Thanks,
Carrie.